What's up everybody? In today's video, we'll be going over the Scoot experience. My flight today was from Coimbatore Airport, which is in the south of India, all the way to Singapore Changi Airport. It was a short 5-hour trip with Scoot Airlines. As you see in the video, the check-in line was not too long, but it wasn't too short either. Fortunately, the line kept moving at a decent pace. The guy at the check-in desk was pretty friendly as well. Here's a little side tip. If you're flying with Scoot and Singapore Airlines on the same itinerary, Scoot can check you in and get you boarding passes till your final destination. However, they can't select seats on any SQ or Singapore Airlines branded flights. The agent at the check-in desk was not super strict with the weight restrictions on cabin baggage, which in my case ended up being a good thing as I was just traveling with one single cabin baggage, which was just very slightly overweight by 1 kilo. I'm not sure if this is an airport or an airlines related thing, but I've noticed that on previous trips I've had, agents have been super strict with the cabin baggage weight limit. I'm curious to know if you guys have experienced this as well, and if you think this is an airport or an airlines related matter. Let me know in the comments down below. So at this point, I got asked by airport staff to stop filming and that I could film after the security checks had been done. Okay, now moving on. The airport itself was fairly small, with not too many shops. It had 2 food shops and 1 duty-free shop that sold only alcohol. Here's a quick walk-around tour of the waiting area right before the gates at the airport. And here's that duty-free shop I mentioned to the left, which, as I mentioned earlier, sold only alcohol. At the time of making this video, there were only 4 gates at the airport. Our flight today was parked at gate 4. After a quick stroll around the waiting area, I made my way towards the gate. As I got closer, I noticed that it was finally time for boarding. Due to the airport layout and the fact that it was night, I wasn't able to get any epic shots of the plane parked at the gate. Anyways, boarding itself was fairly organized and straightforward. It wasn't a chaos as it sometimes tends to be at certain airports.
We are here 6 in the morning. Yeah, but we are here into all the gates. The flight is already there now.
I was super excited to get on board, as this was my first time flying in an A320neo. As I boarded the plane, I got welcomed by the wonderful Scoot cabin crew. Now, I made my way to my seat, seat 31A, all the way at the back of the flight, literally the last row. Quick tip here. If you're a nervous flyer or someone who has a strong reaction to every movement in a flight, I would avoid the last few rows. I generally tend to fly closer to the wing, and it always feels a lot more, with lack of better word, grounded. In the rear seats, every movement felt a lot more magnified. Anyways, the aircraft seemed fairly tidy. It was laid out in a 3-3 configuration as most low-cost carriers are. In the seat pouch ahead of me, there was the safety information card. Just trying to dig it out here. Oh, there's the barf bag, and that was it. The legroom was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. I'm 5'11", and I had about 3 to 4 inches of space between my knees and the seat. The guy who was sitting next to me, who was slightly taller than me, seemed fairly cramped. Finally, after boarding was completed and the safety briefing was done, it was time for takeoff. As it was a nighttime flight, there wasn't much to see, but here's a video of the takeoff anyways. Shortly after ascending into the skies above India, the meal service commenced. We were served the pre-ordered meals, and people could order meals on board as well if they wanted to. I had pre-ordered the vegetarian meal. This option came along with rice and some dal. Dal is essentially lentil curry for those of you unfamiliar with Indian food. The meal also included these chocolate lava cookies which came in a Pokemon-themed box. The meal itself was okay. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't completely inedible either. It was alright. The cookies? Nothing to write home about either. They were alright. One thing I did appreciate though, is that within 10 minutes of finishing my meal, the crew was out to collect the trash and free up the space, which I felt was amazing. Oftentimes, I feel that food trays and trash are collected way too late, leaving you with no space and a tray filled with empty food containers. The crew on this flight was extremely professional and attentive. Every bell call for the flight attendant was answered within 2 minutes, and aside from food orders, whatever was asked for seemed to have been taken care of within minutes after that. I wouldn't necessarily describe the service as engaging or warm, but the ladies taking care of us on this flight were extremely professional and attentive. I booked this flight originally through Singapore Airlines, and this was a code-share flight with Singapore Airlines. So I was given the fly, eat, sleep package, which included the meals and this blanket. Being a low-cost carrier with Scoot, the meals and the blanket are not standard with every ticket and can be purchased either during the time of booking or on board. Okay, now let's check out the bathrooms. The bathrooms on this flight were pretty cramped. However, they were pretty clean and maintained that way for the duration of the flight. No sketchy liquid spills on the floor or the sink. The bathroom was also stocked with some hand soap, and there was hot and cold water. Nothing too extravagant here, but all the basic amenities you'd need in a bathroom. After getting back to the seat, I decided to check out Scoot's Onboard online portal. It was essentially an online infotainment portal that could be accessed while you're on board, which had a few games, and it had the option to either shop for meals or other items on board. One useful feature that the portal had was this interactive flight map, which I ended up using throughout the flight. As we finally approached Singapore and started making our descent, I had the time to sit and think about the Scoot experience. Starting at the airport itself, the Scoot ground staff was friendly, helpful, and professional. Once on board, the plane was pretty clean and the cabin crew on point. The seat itself, the legroom, and the meals were okay. They were nothing spectacular, but for a 5-hour flight, they were sufficient. Given the choice to travel Asia on a low-cost carrier, I would probably choose AirAsia, as my recent experience with them was very positive, with their seats being slightly more comfortable and their cabin crew being a little bit more personable and warm. However, if I did have to travel with Scoot again, I wouldn't mind at all, as everything was super on point and professional. Putting things into perspective and keeping in mind that Scoot is a low-cost carrier, the level of service and the overall value that you get with this airline is incredible. My experience with Scoot has been overall very positive, and I would even recommend them over some full-service flag carrier airlines. I'd love to know what you guys think about Scoot as well. Were your experiences similar to mine, or were they the polar opposite? Let me know down in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and either found it helpful or entertaining. If you'd like to see more content like this, let me know once again in the comments below or by hitting that like button. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.